Title: The Architect and the HOA. When I finally completed my dream home, it was a bold, unapologetic marvel of modern design. Sharp angles, towering glass walls, a beautiful blend of steel and warm-toned wood. The house stood as a proud testament to architectural innovation. It contrasted starkly with the predictable, beige conformity of the surrounding homes in Brookstone Hills. Some neighbors admired it. Others, like Cynthia Holloway, the self-proclaimed queen of the HOA, loathed it with an almost religious fervor. The first shot fired in our battle came not with words, but with paper. A pristine white envelope, stamped with the Brookstone Hills Homeowners Association logo, arrived in my mailbox. Its tone was laced with thinly veiled disdain. According to the letter, my home did not align with the aesthetic harmony of the community. I was being strongly encouraged to bring my home into compliance with approved visual standards. It wasn't a request. It was a demand. I laughed as I read it. I knew the type of war this would become. The next morning, while I watered the young grass on my front lawn, Cynthia appeared. She stormed across the street, her tight platinum bun bouncing furiously. Clipboard in hand, eyes narrowed with purpose, she didn't waste time with greetings. "This," she snapped, waving at my home, "is an abomination. Good morning to you too, Cynthia," I replied calmly. "You can't seriously think this. Structure belongs here." I looked at my home, then back at her. "You mean the home on land I legally purchased? The one that passed all city inspections?" Her nostrils flared. "It's an eyesore. It ruins the symmetry of our neighborhood. Everyone thinks that." I asked, eyebrows raised. "The HOA has standards," she insisted. "We gave you guidelines." "No," I said with a smirk. "You gave me a brochure. It wasn't a contract." Her face tightened. "We have authority." "To do what?" "Force me to rebuild it." "To enforce compliance," she snapped. "You need to repaint, remove the glass panels, and modify the roof." "Ah," I said. "You're an architect now." "I know what looks good." "Well, I'm an architect. I designed this home myself." Her laugh was bitter. "Figures." I let a beat pass before saying, "I also worked on the last White House renovation." That silenced her. "This house does not fit our standards," she finally managed. "You have 1 week to comply." "Or what? More letters? Emergency HOA meetings about my ugly house?" She glared. "We can pursue legal action." "Go ahead," I said. "I can afford it." She turned, muttering about lawyers and board meetings. The next few days were cold. Neighbors who once waved now looked away. Some even told me I should have just followed the rules. But I've never been one to bow to petty power. The second letter came. This time, the HOA accused my home of being a safety concern and claimed they had reported me to the city. I laughed. They were getting desperate. That evening, I toasted the sunset with a beer. Cynthia watched from across the street, arms crossed, expression tight. The next morning, my driveway was covered in eggshells. Petty. Predictable. I cleaned it up with a hose and a grin. Emails from the HOA flooded my inbox. Cease and desist notices. Claims that my house caused emotional distress. Cynthia clearly believed that enough legal jargon would break me. One morning, my neighbor David Simmons approached me. "Listen," he said, "I don't mind your house, but Cynthia's saying it's dropping our property values." She started a petition. "To what?" "Wish it away." He shrugged. "She says the HOA can make you comply." "She say how?" I asked. He hesitated. "Not really. They rely on people not knowing the rules." "But I do. I'm not backing down." Then Cynthia showed up. "Having a little meeting." "Just chatting," I replied. "The petition has over 50 signatures," she said proudly. "Wow," I clapped slowly. "Half the neighborhood. So terrifying." "You're making a mistake." "We'll see." The city inspector came next. Anonymous complaint. He took one look and sighed. "This is all up to code." Total waste of my time. Karen must have been livid. Then came the police. Flashing lights. 2 officers. Someone reported an unauthorized structure. One said, "You're kidding," I replied. "My house is fully legal. Want to see my credentials?" I designed it myself. Worked on the White House. They checked my license. Read my emails. The younger officer looked impressed. So, the older one turned to Cynthia. You called 911 over a house? It's bringing down the neighborhood. Ma'am, misusing emergency services is a crime. She sputtered. You're threatening me? So does everyone else, he replied, including him. She stormed off. The officers left. I waved to her silhouette in the window. Next day, trash cans tipped over. Mailbox knocked down. More anonymous complaints. The HOA sent another letter, now alleging structural safety concerns. I invited the city inspector again. He shook his head. They're wasting your time and mine. I sent the inspection approval directly to the HOA. And to Cynthia. The next morning, a note was taped to my door. For words, no letterhead. This isn't over yet. Oh, Cynthia. You were right. It was time to play my game. I combed through the HOA bylaws. Found a loophole. The aesthetic guidelines only applied to visible structures. Nothing in the back. So I built a massive, gorgeous privacy fence around my property. Legal. High-end. Within height limits. And it blocked her view completely. She marched over. You can't do this. Actually, I said, sipping coffee, I can. It's an act of aggression. Nope. It's compliance. For the first time, she had no comeback. Then came the emergency HOA meeting. I showed up. She launched into a speech about my disruptive structure, how I defied community tradition. How many of you have read the bylaws? I asked. Silence. I exposed her manipulations, her misuse of funds. I handed Richard Hayes, the HOA president, some paperwork. These are financial discrepancies. I suggest an audit. She exploded. Call me a liar. Screamed. But the damage was done. 2 weeks later, she was voted out. She stood on my property line the next day, seething. You think this is over? Karen, I said, sipping coffee, you started a war you couldn't win. A week later, a for sale sign appeared on her lawn. She moved out in silence. The neighborhood shifted. Richard stepped down. Linda, a retired principal, became the new HOA president. She actually listened. Fines dropped. Real issues were addressed. The neighbors warmed up. Even Tom, one of her former supporters, apologized. We were wrong, he said. Apology accepted. One night, I got a call. Enjoy it while it lasts, said a bitter voice. Cynthia, I smiled. I figured you'd try another neighborhood. She hung up. I stepped outside, looking at my home. Still standing. Just as I designed it. My house was forever. And Cynthia was gone.